Hello, hello. Now I've got to stand up just to make sure I'm in frame. Yes, hello. I've come with a little tutorial for you, kind of a tutorial craft with me session. It's been a little while since I've done one. I'm going to show you how I made this. It just looks like an envelope, which is how it started life. I made this last night and thought, actually, that's a pretty good idea. I haven't seen anything like this before. I have a little book of ideas and I just jot things down, and this was something I popped in last night thinking, oh, I'll see if I make a tutorial out of it. But what I like to do first is just do a quick search and see if anybody has done it, and if they have, obviously I would credit them, but I couldn't find anyone who's done this before. That doesn't mean nobody has. So what it is it's an envelope notebook. So there's only a few little pages in this. So those of you that follow me on Instagram will know I'm using Jibid's kit at the moment to make a couple of A6 journals. Now, when you're using a kit from somebody like Jibid, it's really, really difficult to try and do something new and different. What I didn't want to do is use Jibid's kit so it looked like Jibid's journal, which was amazing, and you can't, you know, you couldn't even begin to reproduce something as beautiful as Jibid's beekeeper's journal. So I wanted to try and do things that were a little bit different and obviously my style. So I came up with this little envelope journal yesterday and thought I would share the tutorial with you. So there's obviously an image from the kit that I've shrunk down and popped on, and obviously you could use any kit, any images you'd like. I've stitched it round. I've just popped a sheet of torn paper in the back there, and that's actually another piece of the kit that I've turned into a little pocket. So the other thing I thought of is I've used one of the hexagons to make a closure for this, but that's pointless for me because these are going to be tucked in to pages in my journal. So that's an idea, but you don't have to do that. So these are really simple, really straightforward, and I hope that you will find it interesting or useful. So let's get started. Enough of me yabbering on. The first thing you'll need is an envelope. If you've got an envelope punch board, you can use that. Obviously you can use any envelope you would like. You can make these any size depending on the journal you're making and the envelopes you have. Now when you tea stain an envelope or ink it and then wet it, it obviously falls apart. Well, mine do, I don't know if yours do. So what I did was when it was starting to peel up, I just gently pulled the envelope completely apart just to make sure I had a completely open envelope. So the first thing I did was just take a couple of pieces of spare paper. These are A6 sheets of tea stained paper. So I'm going to, and I'm sorry about the dangling, but I'm not going to keep taking my bracelet off. I'm going to try and keep it off my glass board. And just literally fold those in half. Now you will just check that the paper you have is going to fit inside. Now I need to just trim a really small amount off this so it closes nicely. So I'm going to take my ruler, I'm just going to line up along here because I think this is the line I used last time. Just pop that on the line, and I really don't like cutting on this. Someone recommended a cork backed ruler, but I haven't got around to that yet. So thank you for the tip. Well, that's good. Still have my fingers, so that's always a bonus when I've got a knife in my hand. Now, what I did to make this easier to put through my sewing machine was I took a very fine pencil and I just drew a line. I don't know if you can see that. I just drew a line inside, so when I put it through my sewing machine I can see that, and it's covered up with the stitching, so you're not going to see that when you've finished. So then you need to decide which side you're going to hang your book over, and which side you would like as the front and the back, and it really doesn't matter. I don't think it really matters whether your book opens that way or whether your book opens that way. So if it opens backwards, well, it's not backwards as such, but whether you have to have it like that or whether you have it like that, you know, it's completely up to you, and it will depend on whereabouts you're going to pop it into your journal. But it will all close like an envelope and then tuck over a page. So what I do is I take the shorter end, line these pages up with that, and make sure I've got a similar amount of gap here and here. Now I'm going to take this to my sewing machine, and unfortunately I'm having a bit of technical issue, so I'm not going to be able to pause. I'm just going to run this through. You won't be able to see. I'll give you something to look at, and I'll be talking as I pop this through. Now I'm obviously leaning a little bit, so I'm hoping I can get this right. So I'm just going to run this through my sewing machine. Hopefully that's not too loud. Okay. Now if you don't have a sewing machine, that's not a problem, because what you can do is you can staple it, or you can use your 3-hole pamphlet stitch as you would a journal. I just quite like the sewing, so I've done it with my sewing machine. So it is as simple as that. You now have the basis of your notebook envelope. Nice and easy. So decorating it. I am not going to sew on this particular cover because I'm making 2 journals, and although I want them similar, I don't want any of the elements inside to be the same. So what I've done is I have printed a few more of the images from Jibid's kit that were pages, and I'm going to decide which image I would like on the front. Now I like that one, but I think I've kind of printed that a little bit big, so I'd like to put some cheesecloth on this one. So I'm going to go for this one because this is the smallest one. So of course you're going to ink the edges. Yeah, it seems like a while since I've done a little tutorial, and I really hope this is something new. Like I said, I did a little search and couldn't find anything like it, so hopefully it is something new for everybody to have a try at, and if not, this is just the way I do it. So it's still new for me. I always feel really bad. I did did the weaving, and then someone came to me and said, oh, Paula did weaving yesterday, and I'd not, you know, I'd not ever seen Paula's channel, but it was great because then, you know, I did a search and found her, and it's really nice to find new people that you haven't seen, and I think her work is amazing. So I'm just going to roughly cut this. Now usually I don't waste as much. I'm a bit stingy with my cheesecloth, because when I order it I have to wait for it. There's nowhere locally I can buy it from, so I have to order, and I don't know if you're all the same, but if I need anything I kind of want it. I don't want to wait. That's fine. Okay, so which way's up? We'll go that way. So I'm going to have the image this way up. Now the great thing about cheesecloth is you don't actually have to glue the cheesecloth. You can, but you don't have to. So what I'm going to do is turn my image over. And my house is really quiet for half term, and I've realised my 16-year-old son is the noisy one, because there's no loud music and the house is, you know, my daughter, my 12-year-old, she was 12 yesterday, she loves to read, so she's so quiet, which is lovely. But my 16-year-old, he's into some music that I don't really recognise as music, to be honest. So we're going to pop that down. I haven't got that particularly level. Over a little bit. There we go. Now I am going to trim some of this. Just a tiny bit. Oh, I haven't cut through. Oh, sorry. That was kind of me talking to myself. Okay, so we've now got an image on the front. We're going to, this is the beautiful Midsummer Night's Dream passage that Jibid has added to the kit. So it's already looking pretty good. So what I'm going to do is, before I decorate the inside and do a little bit more on the outside, I'm just going to ink all the way around here. I mean, when do you ink? Do you ink before you stick the image down? Do you stick after? Ink after? I often forget to ink and then kind of have no choice but ink after I've put images in and added them and stuff like that. I know Michele Scott has a little sign above her desk saying, Michelle, don't forget to ink, but that doesn't work because she still forgets to ink. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who is the same. So there's a lot of options for this. I was thinking about the window envelope I made, because I think what would be really cool, probably wouldn't be a good idea to do it with this, but what would be really cool is if you had a hole in the front, so the page inside the book would peer through the envelope, the window, which would be quite nice, I think. Where have I not got it? Oh, I haven't inked. Oh no, I haven't inked all the way around the back. Sorry. So these are from Jibid's kit, and if you have not seen Jibid's Beekeeper journal and Jibid's kit, she's got a new fabulous, very, very nice, sleek website. So I do recommend you go and have a little look at that. It's beautiful. She's got some, this kit is just beautiful. There's some amazing work in the kit, and obviously it's work that Jibid has done. So you get a little piece of Jibid's work even if you don't own a journal. So we've got this so far. What I would like to do is decorate the back again like I did in this one, but I don't want it the same, so I'm going to do something maybe a little bit different in this one. This is another image. I don't know if you can see the beautiful, it's one of Jibid's eco dye pieces, so I'd quite like to use that. And I think on this one what I would like to do is use this as a pocket. So now I am going to still put a piece of plain paper at the back because it strengthens it a little bit, even though we've got the cover on there. So I'm just going to tear a little piece off. Make that a little bit shorter. That may only be, get rid of that bit. Just work out how I want to put this. Now I'm changing my mind. I don't think I'm going to have a piece of torn paper behind it. It's going to have a tag inside the pocket. Now again, if you wanted to, you could sew this before you glue it, but because we're filming, I'm not going to do that. I will just add something to this in a minute though. So, how do I want that one? I've changed my mind. I'm sorry. I don't know how many times you guys have watched me ink. Please feel free to skip watching me ink. But then when I'm watching a video, I do watch a video. So I do watch people ink. And it's fine. And I still watch with like a fascinated look on my face, like I'm catching flies with my mouth open, because it's interesting, I find, but I'm sure you don't find watching me ink interesting. So I'm just gonna put a little bead of glue all the way around. And I'm gonna sit that inside, making sure I've got enough room at the top here to make that into a pocket. And there's so many things you could do. You could stamp them, you could do all sorts of things. Okay, so yeah, I'm happy with that. I like that. I like the little pocket and I like the cover, but I would like to add something to the inside and the cover. So I'm going to go on the inside first. So that piece of paper that I just tore, I've got one of these stamps. This one, I've already moved it to the word buzz. So I'm going to just print that word on this. There we go. That a second to dry. Try and get that as even as I can, which of course isn't even at all. I feel like I should have some like lift music playing. I can remember lift music when I was a kid. I don't really hear lift music very much anymore. But we used to have like a co-op store near us in our town centre, and it had a little lady sitting on a stool, and there was some really funky music playing in the lift. But I can't be dealing with trying to find copyright-free music because it's just a minefield, isn't it? Oh, I like everything. We all love a bit of copyright, don't we? Okay. I think I'm going to use a little bit of cheesecloth here. Seems we've got scraps. And I have got a thing about cheesecloth at the minute. I think I've just pulled that part a bit too far. No, that looks okay. No, it doesn't. Sorry guys. I've got another piece. So let's cut that. That's a bit better. So I'm going to pop a little bit of glue on here. Oops. Write that down, make sure I'm still in frame. Just gives the pocket a little bit of interest. So it's not just an image. And I do like to try and do things a bit different when I'm using a kit. like I said, especially this kit, because it's like, you feel, oh, it's pressure. You feel the pressure using a Jibid Neary kit, because like I said, it's just, her work is so amazing, isn't it? It's right, okay, I'm going to change this now to B, because I'd like the word bee on the front. I might add the word bumblebee later. Oh, I want an E, don't I? B-E. Where's the B gone? There we go. These things are really good, but they're so difficult to get to the dials because they're really close together. So I've got the word B, and the first time I tried this, of course my word was backwards because I wasn't clever enough to remember that you needed to do it backwards. Just going to ink the word. Use this little piece here. There we go. So, and I got this one from AliExpress. They're not very expensive at all. I've had it a little while, but I'm sure they still do them. And I think you can get them with a 9 or a 7, 9 and 12 word letters. So you can have it as many or as few as you think you'll need. I think this is the smaller one. I didn't get the big one. So I'm going to ink me B. And I'm going to I'm not sure. Do I want it off the page? I think it needs to go at the bottom to balance out the flower. I think it needs to go this side. I'll probably put it down and then go, oh, should have gone there. Maybe it should go at the bottom here. No. No. Okay, so I think that is, I can pick it up, that is our little envelope notebook. It's like a little hidden notebook, isn't it? Our little envelope notebook finished. There's so many things you could do. You could even, you know, put little pockets and things. You could round the corners. You could stamp. There's a lot of things you could do with these. I'm not going to add one of these on this one because I'm going to probably glue this down as an embellishment rather than for the purpose of holding it shut. But you could use magnets if you needed to. I'm going to stop using magnets, and I'll tell you for why. Is because if you're sending the journal to someone who's got a pacemaker, they'll have to rip it out, or someone will have to do it for them, because you can't be near a magnet if you have a pacemaker. So I haven't used magnets in my journals for a while. Just worth a mention if you're sending a journal to somebody, or if somebody's asked for a custom order, just make sure they don't have a pacemaker if you're going to use a magnet. The things you need to think about, we don't always think about things, do we? Like, you can't use a magnet. Anyway, that is our little envelope notebook. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it useful, and I will be along again soon. Now I have no thumbnails because they have broken. I will be doing that charm tutorial. I did try to film it, and I have beads popping all over the place. It's like popcorn when I try and do charms. But now my thumbnails have gone, it's not so bad. So I'm going to be coming back with that at some point. So thanks again, and I will see you soon. Bye.